What's going on, guys? Briar Rabbit here. Today, Bungie livestream part 2 of their 3-part series of reveals for the upcoming Age of Triumph Spring Update. This week, it was all about changes to weekly events in Destiny post-update, with a quick diversion to check out what's new from the Eververse Trading Company. The first thing that was shown was a brand new quest available from the speaker that will task us with 12 steps in which we will retrace our steps through our time with Destiny since year 1. Bungie didn't mention a reward, but in keeping with their message so far about Age of Triumph, I expect it to be generous and epic. Next, Bungie took us over to the Eververse Trading Company, who will now have a brand new treasure box called the Treasure of Ages. These new boxes will have a huge available loot pool, including anything and everything that the live team has ever created for a treasure box in the past. This could include Spectre armor, Taken armor, SRL emblems, emotes, ornaments, sparrow horns, ships, everything. There will also be new items available with these new packages, as well as including new Age of Triumph armor, ships, shaders, and brand new ornaments. And the ornaments are actually pretty exciting. For the first time ever, the Suros Regime, the Dragon's Breath, the Lord of Wolves, and No Land Beyond will be getting ornaments. Also, new ornaments for some raid-specific weapons, including the Necrochasm, the Touch of Malice, and the Vex Mythoclast. If you start getting a lot of duplicates from these packages, and you'll be getting a lot of these packages if you run the weekly events, you can dismantle your items for silver dust, which can be used at the kiosk next door to buy specifically the items you want. So, for instance, let's say you really want that Moonglow ornament for Hawkmoon. Well, you'll be able to simply just purchase that exact item from the kiosk. Easy and direct. I like that. The kiosk will sell all sorts of other stuff too, including shaders, sparrows, masks, emotes, and even faction-specific engrams. Before leaving the tower, Bungie swung by everybody's favorite Crucible shoutcaster, Lord Shax, to show that he will now have 2 weekly bounties for Crucible players to complete each week, which is good because the daily Crucible playlist will be disappearing from the director screen. That is only one of the changes that's happening to our weekly playlist. How we spend time in Destiny is about to change in some fairly significant ways. First, as was revealed last week, the raids have been added to the director in the form of the weekly featured raid. This will feature the challenge modes for each raid, rotated on a weekly schedule. We also got a sneak peek at the Crota's End challenges, which will be Crota himself and the Death Singer. The Challenge of Elders will be once again getting a spot on the weekly director. I was a little surprised to see this was Challenge of Elders and not Prison of Elders. I would have liked to see the return of Skolas inside of the weekly challenges. Skolas was a pretty original and unique fight inside of Destiny, a 3v1 fight, a fire team of 3 in an almost raid-like scenario that just hasn't been duplicated in Destiny since then. Next, there will be some changes to the Nightfall strikes. First of all, there will be a new modifier added to the Nightfalls called Daybreak. When Daybreak is on, our Guardian will recharge super, grenade, and melee energy at a much faster rate. This is going to be the most powerful our Guardians have ever been in PvE, and it looks like a lot of fun. It's basically going to be mayhem, but in PvE. The Daybreak modifier is set to come up the first week of Age of Triumph, and then every 4 weeks after that. So it's a rotating schedule. Daybreak will not be active in the Nightfall every week. That is until July 18th, at which point it will remain on every week until the end of August. Just in time for Destiny 2 in September, perhaps. End screen rewards for the Nightfall will remain unchanged. However, the Blue Flame and the XP boost will return from year 1, making it worthwhile to get Nightfalls done early in the week. Glad to see these coming back. Honestly think they never should have been taken out. Also returning to the director is the Siva Heroic Strike playlist, which will largely remain unchanged aside from the fact that it will now reward one Treasure of Ages instead of Treasures of Dawning. Brand new, however, is the weekly story playlist, which will consist of rotating mission sets week to week. One week could be missions from Mars and Venus, the next missions from Earth and the Moon. Each week, a different set of missions. These missions will also have new Nightfall-style modifiers, including Heroic, Specialist, Grounded, and more. This is the first time since the Queen's Wrath event that missions have had these types of modifiers on them. And Queen's Wrath was like vanilla Destiny before the Dark Below. That is way old. Running this playlist is going to be super rewarding as well. Each week, you can earn one Treasure of Ages package and up to 100 legendary marks, 20 per strike. This will be a great way to level up and earn new gear. This is in addition to a much more generous loot system that Bungie says will be throughout Destiny. Crucible players will be seeing a reduction in available activities with the loss of the daily Crucible playlist. However, the weekly playlist will remain and will also reward players with a Treasure of Ages package. This playlist will feature 6v6 game modes only. So that's the big news from today's live stream. Next week, we will see more about weapons and gear. I expect that we will see some elemental primaries make a return, a vendor refresh of some sort, and possibly a preview of some brand new gear. I was actually pretty excited with most of the stuff they talked about today, although I will say this, there was not enough content in this live stream for a 1-hour live stream. You can tell they were kind of trying to stretch it out a little bit because it just wasn't that much to talk about in here. But fundamentally, I like all the changes they're making in this live update so far. It's going to be a lot of fun to jump into some of this stuff. And I was surprised and delighted that there is a weekly mission playlist with Nightfall style modifiers. That should be a lot of fun. So next week is going to be the big week. That's the one with all the weapons. Will there be a vendor refresh? Will there be elemental primaries? That's all coming next week. We'll find out. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Hit that like button if you like the video. Hit subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.